Hello everyone, and welcome to Math 201, Calculus 3. Let me just start by repeating my apology for my email to you. A video is not an optimal way to start a course. I would much rather meet you face-to-face on Wednesday, the first day of class. But as I explained, on Wednesday I'll be out of town for a conference, and then on Friday my wife is having surgery, so I need to be at the hospital. So I won't see you until Monday, the third day of class. So that is not ideal. And in particular, we cannot just miss 2 days of class. Okay, we don't have time to miss all of that material. So in lieu of meeting, we're going to cover the syllabus and section 12.1 via a couple of videos or a few videos. So let me also just reiterate what I said about a quiz. When we come back on Monday, there will be a quiz. The quiz is just there to check that you watched these videos. Okay, so it's not meant to be hard. It covers the syllabus. It covers section 12.1. And when I say it covers the syllabus, I don't mean that I'm going to ask you real fine-grained little questions like from memory, you don't need to tell me what my email address is. You know what I mean? Or like, from memory, you're not going to tell me the course objectives. I'm not going to ask you anything like that. I'm just going to ask you things like, true or false, we will be using online homework as part of the course. That would be true. And that's something that would be obvious to you if you've read the syllabus at all. Okay? So again, this quiz is not meant to be difficult. It's not meant to intimidate you. I don't like starting our time together with a quiz. I just want some sort of check that you have watched these videos and given them some minimal thought. In particular, you can take handwritten notes if you want to, and then use them on the quiz. So again, I wouldn't copy down the syllabus by hand. That's a waste of time. Just another sort of sample question you might see from a syllabus. So let me scroll all the way to the end. Here's just some stuff you can do if you miss a day of class. These are common sense for the most part anyway. I might ask you, tell me one thing you should do if you miss a day of class. One thing from the syllabus, right? So there are 5 of these. You could list one of them. Or this section here is how to succeed in Math 201. Here are just some success tips. I might ask you to give me one of these. That's what the quiz over the syllabus will look like, okay? So again, that should be really easy if you have read the syllabus or paid attention to these videos. Also, part of that quiz grade is whether or not you've registered for WebAssign by class on Monday. And hopefully you have registered earlier than that, say by the first day of class Wednesday. Okay, so that's the quiz. That's my apologies for missing. Let's briefly go over the syllabus. All of you can read, so I'm not going to read this to you. Of course, I just want to hit some of the highlights. So let's just start with my contact stuff. I'm Dr. McCune. Again, sorry to meet you in this impersonal way. I only list my email here because I don't check my phone very often. I don't even know how to check the voicemail. Okay, so if you go on the website and call the number you see for me there, you probably will not reach me, but I'm pretty good by email. My office is just down the hall. These are my office hours, and I want to stress here that these hours, as hopefully you know, I'm just sitting in there waiting for people to come by and ask for help. So you don't need to ask me ahead of time if you can come by. You don't need to worry about like bothering me or things like this, right? I am just sitting in there hoping somebody will come by and talk a little math with me, okay? I love talking some math. So you don't need to ask permission or whatever. If you can't come by during these times, we will find a time to meet. But that's when you actually have to ask me like, hey, can I meet with you some other time? Like say Monday at 3 or I don't know, Tuesday in the afternoon or something. I can meet with you other times. We just need to set it up. And it's no problem at all, right? If you can't come by during these times and you need help with your homework or whatever, we can set up a time to meet. In particular, we can Skype from my house if you want to. So I've done that many times. I've put my little kiddos to bed, and then I've Skyped with students who need help with their homework. Okay, what is Calculus 3? That's what this first page is, the course description and the course objectives. Let me just say, you people are in for a treat. Calculus 3 is very nice. It's my favorite of the calculi, or calculuses, I don't know. But anyway, basically the idea of Calculus 3 is, in Calculus 1 or Calculus 2, every function you study is a function of one variable. Okay, in other words, every dependent variable depends on one and only one other variable. So if you think back to the examples from Calc 1, you probably saw, distance was a function of time. Position was a function of time and only time, right? You have one variable depending on only one other variable, time. Or you might have an example like manufacturing cost of making TVs, the cost of making TVs, depends on the number of TVs you make. Okay, so cost depends on one and only one thing, the number of TVs you've made. Okay, in practice, of course, variables might depend on lots of other variables, not just one. So if you think about temperature, for example, temperature at some place on the surface of the Earth, that temperature depends on both latitude and longitude. It depends on two things. If you want to watch temperature flow over time, then it depends on three things, right? Latitude, longitude, and time. So that's just one example, right, of a variable that depends on more than one thing because the world is complicated. So many, many variables you actually care about in reality depend on more than one variable. So given that that is the case, you need still a theory of rates of change, of how things change. So you need to take all of that material from Calc 1 and 2 and think about what it might look like with functions of more than one variable. And doing that is essential, foundational in fields like physics, engineering, chemistry, economics, all sorts of places. Okay, so all of this language here is just sort of boilerplate language. It means nothing to you until you've had the course. It's required to be in here for transfer reasons. If you were to transfer out of Joule, then the new university would need to know what you learned. So this is basically all in here for those people. For you, your takeaway should be, I'm going to do Calculus 1 and some of Calculus 2, but in a new setting, a setting where variables can depend on more than one thing. Okay, the textbook is the same as it's been. Stewart. We're going to use Moodle. You should attend class. If you miss a day of class, it's your responsibility to take care of that. So at the end of this document is a section about what you should do. If you need accommodations, you will be accommodated. Okay, it's no problem. If you have some sort of learning disability or something that requires like extra time on an exam, you will certainly be accommodated. You should contact Missy Henry to set that up. Okay, this section here, again, I'm not going to read this to you. It just says you shouldn't cheat. Hopefully all of you know you shouldn't cheat and you know what cheating is. You should spend somewhere between 6 to 8 hours per week on the course outside of class. Mostly that's on homework, but also studying or maybe reading examples from the text. Okay, homework in this class comes in two flavors. We have online homework, that's through WebAssign, which hopefully most, if not all of you have used before, and paper. Okay, so two flavors of homework. Here's the course code for WebAssign. Let me just show you real quick. Again, I think most of you have done this. If you have never done it before, here's webassign.net. Enter class key is where you go. That's where you will enter that william.joule, whatever. From there, you click enroll, and it's pretty self-explanatory. If you have any trouble at all, please let me know. You will also need the WebAssign code that comes with your textbook. That WebAssign code is unique to you. Like you bought a textbook, you bought this code. This code here is not unique to you. It's just for our course. So all 15 of you will be using that. Online homework is due Tuesday at midnight. The paper homework is due the next day in class on Wednesday. Paper assignments are usually short, much shorter than the WebAssign assignment. You have to do a lot of problems to learn this material, so WebAssign lets you do a lot of problems. Paper homework, you don't need to do a ton of problems for me to grade your actual work, not your answer. So the purpose of a paper assignment is I can grade your work and not just your final answer, because of course on an exam you are graded on your work as well. So I want you to have a feel for how you will be graded before you go into an exam. That's the purpose of having paper homework in addition to online homework. You're expected to complete classwork on time. No late homework except in emergencies, and documentation will be required. And just worth noting here, athletic travel, things like that, not an emergency, right? Emergency is you got hit by a car or somebody in your family died, things like that. At the end of the semester, 2 of your lowest homework scores will be dropped. Okay, so there are a few more highlights here, but I think I'm going to break this video into 2 parts. Just it's obnoxious to watch long videos on syllabi, right? So I'll briefly finish this off in part 2.